This is worse than a zombie apocalypse, especially if there's any babies in the mix. Canadians better watch out. Once there's a baby around, you watch out for that mama goose, okay? She doesn't mess around.
This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Roberto on the Digital Sportscentre presented by TELUS. And we start on the diamond where the Jays are right back into the wildcard mix. They took 2 of 3 from Colorado and the series opener against Oakland yesterday. And going back to their previous series, they've now won 4 of their last 5 and are just a half game out of the AL wildcard. And with 2 more against the lowly A's. And a 3-game set with the Royals, who are just as bad as Oakland, the Jays could be in a playoff spot sooner than we think. They'll send Chris Bassett to the mound tonight, which was a great thing in August. He went 3-1 with a 3.03 ERA last month, with opponents batting just .205 against him. And in his last start, he was absolutely lights out, going 8 strong, giving up only 3 hits and no runs in a win against the Nats. Now for the Jays to make the wild card, they're going to need some help. And the 3 teams ahead of them in the standings have a mixed bag in terms of remaining strength of schedule, as the Rays have a really grueling schedule to end the season. Texas about middle of the pack, and Houston having a very easy finish to the season in terms of strength of schedule. Unfortunately, there's no real chance of the Jays catching Tampa. So if Toronto makes the postseason, it's going to be at the expense of one of the 2 Texas teams. It seems as though the Jays do this every year though, right? Just leave people hanging on by a little thread, edge of their seat. Does that make it more fun for you Jays fans? Let us know. To the NFL, and the countdown continues. And when we started the countdown, it seems like the season was never going to get here. But don't panic, people, because NFL football is back in our lives in just 2 days. Now, for 2 teams with Super Bowl aspirations, there are 2 key holdouts that don't look any closer to being resolved before the season starts. And that's with Chris Jones of the Chiefs and Nick Bosa of the Niners. Let's start with Bosa. As we know, according to several reports, the Niners seem okay with making him the NFL's highest paid defensive player. Well, not quite. As the holdup seems to be, will he pass Aaron Donald's AAV of just over $31 million? And will this be resolved anytime soon?
No, there is no deal yet for Nick Bosa, and I would say similar to Chris Jones, maybe without quite the amount of urgency. Until there is a significant breakthrough, I do not expect Nick Bosa on the field.
Now, we touched on Jones yesterday in the show, and Travis Kelce's plea for him to return. But let's focus on the short term of this, because the Chiefs open up their season in 2 days against the Lions. A game you can watch on TSN, of course. But realistically, don't count on seeing Jones on the field Thursday night, even if he does sign a contract before kickoff.
I mean, look, could he show up today, sign the contract, get a few snaps on Thursday night? Theoretically, yes. Realistically, no. I think they're game planning without him. They're going to have to try and figure out how to stop the Lions without him, and they know it.
And speaking of that season opener, we just got some big news moments before posting the show. Travis Kelce hyperextended his knee at practice today and is now uncertain for the season opener. And just a reminder, with the season only 2 days away, you're going to need to get TSN Plus, as it is the new home of NFL Red Zone. To subscribe, go to tsn.ca/TSN Plus or just click the link below.
2, 3.
I think we need to answer the question in the caption. What sport is this?
Why we love sports today.
And I know some of you know the answer. It is leg wrestling. And yeah, it's as fun as it looks.
2,
In jeans.
3.
Doing it in jeans. Wow, the straight leg. The straight leg tactic. It just shows you who does leg day and who skips it, you know? Okay, so Duke shocked the college football world last night as they upset Clemson. And after the game, quarterback Riley Leonard was all of us with the homework anxiety, knowing that he was not going to hit his deadline.
Professor Taylor, if you're seeing this, please let me turn in my homework late because it's due tonight, I think at 12, so it may already be 12.
That's cute, but let's be serious, okay? He plays in the football team. I think he'll be fine. And as we've told you all show, the NFL season is back this week. But this past weekend, college football was all the rage, and the matchups did not disappoint. So let's look at some of the fun stuff that happened last week before looking ahead. We have to start with Colorado, where Deion Sanders led the Buffs to a huge upset win over TCU. Colorado won a single game last season. Literally just 1 game. So this win is monumental for so many reasons. In case you don't know the story, Sanders came from Jackson State. He brought in a lot of his own players, and is doing things in a way Division I schools typically don't. The Buffaloes have a ton of talent, starting with Travis Hunter, who plays corner and receiver. He had a ridiculous game on Saturday, with 11 catches over 100 yards, an interception, and played over 100 total snaps, which is just insane. We rarely see two-way talent in football, and it gets even crazier when you hear this stat. The last 2 players with 20 receptions and 3 picks in a season were Champ Bailey and Chris Gamble. And Hunter could beat those numbers in a couple weeks. He's definitely a dog and wears a D on his jersey to signify just that. Because that's something Sanders does with Colorado, L for leaders and D for dogs. Now the hype is going to get out of control for Colorado, especially before the month is over, because they've got Oregon and USC coming up on the schedule. And let's talk about those 2 teams for a second, because Caleb Williams, the QB for the Trojans, is the Heisman frontrunner and consensus first overall pick in next April's NFL draft. And him and USC are coming off another blowout win. Well, Oregon's mascot already matched those yards and push-ups this weekend. So really the Ducks should be right up there with Williams in terms of the Heisman, no? And finally, let's get a look ahead to this upcoming weekend, because we have a huge matchup between Alabama and Texas. Now the matchup within the matchup has already begun, because last year when these two teams met in Austin, Bama's band was forced to be seated in the upper deck, so they returned the favor for the Texas band traveling for this game. This year's matchup will also feature a fascinating QB battle, as first-year starter Jalen Milroe takes on Quinn Ewers, who played against Bama last year, but left the game due to injury in the 1-point loss. And you can watch Bama and Texas this Saturday on TSN. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. That's all for today. We'll see you right back at tomorrow, 3 Eastern. No Pacific! Have a good one.